Here we go. Put some feeling in it, because feeling is what moves it. Today is a brand new day. I refuse to limit my life by any past experience. I was born to be happy, to be abundantly supplied with every good thing, to have fun in living, to grow, and to consciously align the divine power within me with the divine power around me. I boldly claim my birthright. Today is the best day ever. True story. Because it's the only day ever. It has to be the best one. So this morning we're exploring how to build your tomorrow today. Now the first piece of that is the obvious, that tomorrow never gets here. So if we don't build it today, chances are really good we're not building it. The other piece of that is the word building, because it presupposes a process, and a process of more than one component, versus a magic wand, poof, arrival. And one of the things that we tend to be challenged with in New Thought is this idea of getting something. What do I need? What's the affirmation that I need to use to get this? How much meditation do I need to do to get this? How many times do I need to do this to get this? The challenge there is that we're not participating in that process. If all I'm doing is focused on getting, who's building? If you want a meal, you have to participate. Whether it's driving to the restaurant, or whether it's going to the grocery store, or whether it's cooking it, or even if it's picking up the fork to eat it, you have to participate. And so we have to get ourselves out of this idea of meditate, 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 affirm, affirm, affirm. It's not here yet. Meditate, meditate, meditate. It's not going to be delivered by the Easter Bunny or Santa Claus or some magic unicorn. That isn't how it works. That's a misunderstanding of the law. And here's the other thing that won't work. Simply saying it with your embouchure, with your mouth, will not create it. Because what's actually creating, where we're manifesting from, are the unquestioned beliefs that we hold. The ones that we have feeling attached to. The one where the reading is talking about our mental atmosphere. That's where we're attracting from. And so if our mental atmosphere is everything is hard, or I can't have what I deserve, then it doesn't really matter how many affirmations you do or how much footwork you do, because the vibration that you're sending out is no thank you. You've already decided it's not possible. That's what the law is operating on, is your deep belief. Imagine, and maybe some of us have tried it, but I don't recommend it, so let me just say that right up front. Once upon a time, we actually got canceled checks back in the mail. Back when dinosaurs roamed the land. Some of us remember that time. How many of us took those canceled checks out of the envelope and put them back in the bank for a second round? No? No? Why not? Still a check? Still, right? But how often do we do that with our past? We just keep cashing it back in over and over again. We've already spent it. It's already done, and we keep going back into our canceled checks of the past and putting them back in circulation, thinking we're going to get something. And we don't, because it's already done. Can anybody in here show me conclusively where is the past? Can anybody point to it? Behind you? Okay. Everybody look behind Margie. Does anybody see their past back there? No. But even if you turn around and look, you're not going to see your past because it's gone. It's not still happening. It's not really a question and answer session, Jack. Thank you, though.
There is one place on earth that has it, though.
Here's the deal. Our past is gone. It is not still happening. Nothing in the past is still happening. We have memory of it. But the events are done. If we recreate a very similar event, it's still a new event. It is not the past event happening twice. That's impossible. It just simply can't happen. And yet, we walk around replaying the story. I want to be really clear here. No part of me is saying erase your memory. None. Because memory creates experience. Experience is the very thing we need to learn how to build upon. It's the foundation. The problem comes is then when we're trying to use building materials that burned up in a fire. You can't bake a board, a functional board, out of a pile of ashes. We just can't do it. But we try it over and over again. We keep going back to our past because that's what we're focused on. Because we're really not focused on building a new tomorrow. We're focused on changing something that isn't happening anymore. And not even God can change yesterday. My guess is whatever this thing called God is, isn't even trying because it gets that it's gone. We're the ones struggling with still trying to go back and make this be different. What if we let it be done? What if it's done? On a circle, there is no place where the circle begins and ends. Okay? There's no place where something starts and something stops and something. It's just a continuous circle. Energy is the same way. So if we free up our attention from over here and move our attention to the circle, instead of cutting the circle and then staring at it, hoping we will fix that gap that we created, understand there is no gap. The energy is still moving. This idea of mental atmosphere, that's how we attract. It's also how we repel. Okay? Anybody in here ever play sports? Any sport that involved a ball. Okay? The focus, if I'm playing baseball and the pitcher is coming and I'm over here wondering what the right fielder's doing, my chances of connecting the bat to the ball are slim to none. I have to focus on the ball so that as the ball leaves the pitcher's hands, my head is still following it. And every coach I ever had screamed over and over again, see the ball hit the bat. Because our tendency, just like in creation, is to look where it is that we want the ball to go. So as the ball gets here, I'm headed at the fence. I'm already looking into the future where I want it to be, and ball's in the catcher's glove and I missed. Because my attention stopped being in the moment. See the ball hit the bat. See the ball hit the tennis racket. See your foot hit the ball. Whatever it is, focus on the moment. Because in building, we have to have parts. And those parts involve other people and other places and other things. If I want to manifest a vehicle, chances are good that I'm going to need at some point to involve another person that has a vehicle in my process. That process involved a whole factory of people who built that car. Other people are involved in the process. If all I'm focused on is how hard my life is because I don't have a car, what I'm doing is repelling the very people who can help me. We can walk into a room and we know what is happening in that room, whether anybody says anything or not. You ever walk into a room where there is an argument going on, and as soon as you walk into the room, the argument stops, but you feel it. It's like you don't know what exactly is happening there, but you know, methinks things are not so cool between you two. Okay? We feel it because all life is energy. All life is vibration. Where are you vibrating? What frequency are you vibrating at? Are you vibrating at a frequency that says, I am going to participate 100% in manifesting the desires of my heart, which, by the way, starts in your heart, not the desires of your brain, not the desires of your neighbor, not the desires of society, the desires of your heart. What is it nudging you to become? Because when you become that, you will attract that. You say that again. When you become the desire of your heart, you will attract the desire of your heart. That means, to some degree, we have to stop scripting. And if you want safe transportation, and you have an unrelenting picture in your mind of a green Volkswagen, and somebody offers you a red pickup truck, okay, or a blue Mercedes, you're going to still be walking. Because you're never even going to acknowledge it. Because you've set up a vibration that won't receive it. Because the only thing that you have decided is acceptable is a green Volkswagen. Now, if that's how you want to manifest, great. Go for it. I just want to make sure you know there are other options. There are options beyond what we can conceive of. And if we will go to the feeling place, what is it that I want to experience? What is my heart wanting to experience? If I want a safe home, I want to experience safety. I want to experience comfort. I want to experience the joy of community. Am I willing to stand in that and pay attention to where that takes me? Because it might take me to another state. It might take me to a different community. It might take me to a different country. Which I think is the thing that pushes us to script it. Because we got attachments. Now, I'm not saying they're bad or wrong. I'm saying we got attachments. Okay? I'm attached to my wife. And when I'm listening to the nudge of my heart, there are moments over the past 2006, over the past 12 years, where there has been legitimate concern that if I follow my path, how is this going to impact our marriage? Because it's not necessarily her path. And will she want to share that? Will there even be a mechanism? Or does following my heart change all of this? And in those moments, there's a decision that has to be made. Because we have free will. I get to say no to my heart. I get to. So do you. Most of us have been doing that our whole lives. Is saying no to this divine nudge. I had an encounter the other morning at the recycle place. I think I can get through this without getting emotional, but maybe not. I'd finished recycling all of our bottles and cans, and I was on my way back to my truck. And this vehicle was pulling in behind me, and the occupant blew his horn so that he didn't hit this individual on a bicycle. The guy on the bicycle happened to be white. The guy driving the SUV happened to be a black man. The white man, I have no idea what he said, but I can tell you from his body language, it was not have a good day. His hands went up, there was audible screaming. It was unintelligible, but it was audible. Black man parked his vehicle and he came flying out of his vehicle. I was like, uh-oh. Now me and several other folks, I used to be a deputy, so I'm just leaning up against my truck going, okay, let me just observe. Do I need to intervene? Because I'm not about to back out and be right in the middle of it with my vehicle. And what came to me was, what is mine to do here? What is mine to do? And what my heart said was, use your business card like a badge. Because my heart communicates to me the way my brain understands things. So I reached in my truck and got one of my business cards, and I just edged my way over to him, and I held it out to the black man, and I said, if you want to talk, I'll be over here. And I went and sat on my tailgate. And they finished their interaction, and he came over. And we chatted for about 20 minutes. And part of that, initially he was like, aren't you afraid of me? And my response was, no, should I be? And to which he then said, well, most white people are. I said, well, I'm not most white people. And you didn't answer my question. Should I be afraid of you? And he chuckled, and he's like, no. And I asked him, I said, what are you so angry about? This is the hard part to hear. At least it was for me. He said, I'm tired of having to fight for my share of air. Tired of having to fight for my share of air. And we talked, and we prayed together. And then he upped off my tailgate, and he took a couple steps, and he turned back around, and he said, Pastor, can I give you a hug? And I'm like, sure. He said, man, I really stink. I'm like, do you want a hug or not? I got things to do. And we embraced, and I don't know what his experience will be, but I know it changed me in some way. Because it teaches me, again, if I will listen to my heart, profound things happen. Did I create transportation? Did I manifest a job? Did I manifest a home? Did I double my bank account? I don't know. See, it's easy to go right to no. But the truth is, I don't know. See, that interaction in the parking lot of the recycle place may actually be the movement of spirit creating something so big I can't see it with my mind's eye. but I'm listening to the heart that just says love. Love bigger than you ever imagined you could love. That's why you're here, Rafe, is to love people. Now, if I consistently do that, it's building something. It's building my tomorrow today. Every time I say yes to an opportunity to love, that's a brick in whatever is getting built. Will you give yourself bigger than you can conceive of? What would you in spirit build if you let go of the minimal ideas that are in your brain and drop that 18 inches to this imagination in the heart that is indefinable, that has a picture of you that is bigger than you can imagine? Because remember, what you can picture in your mind comes from the past. Comes from the past. You can only have a picture of something that you've already seen. And if that's all you want, great. And I really mean that. Great, that's your choice. You get that. And if there is something inside of you that gets excited about the idea of something that you've never experienced before, let go of the form. Let go of the form. And the final piece, anybody ever literally swept dirt under the rug? Company's coming, you're in a hurry. That special closet that nobody ever opens, that when somebody's coming over on short notice, and you just hope to God the door hinge does not bust. Because you know how much stuff is in there. That's what we're doing in our consciousness if we refuse to unearth what's operating in our subconscious. Those beliefs that you don't even question. Because see, it doesn't matter what the carpet is. You can put flowery words on top of crappy beliefs all day long. And what's going to operate in the law is the crappy belief. All the flowery words in the world don't change that. What changes that is getting honest about what's operating in your subconscious. Now, I'm sure there are as many ways to identify those as there are people in the room. Where mine show up is in that muttering. When something doesn't go my way, that muttering is talking about my beliefs. I knew it wasn't going to work out, it never does. Oh, really? You have a belief that things never work out, and that's what's operating. I was talking with my mentor a couple months ago, and what came out of my mouth was, that's just my life. I've always been in pain. Now, what my brain was talking about was physical pain. That is not what I said. And there was no... my mentor is a pretty sharp woman, and while she didn't say anything, I could see on her face that she caught it. So then it's like, I may as well admit it before I have to swallow it. So let me just own this. Because there was a world of difference between I have always experienced physical pain in this body, and that's just my life. I'm always in pain. Okay? Because a belief system that says my life is always being in pain is going to manifest pain. Emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually. Because that's what my belief system is feeding into the law 24/7. And the law doesn't have any part of it that goes, I know Rafe didn't really mean that. So, we're just going to park this over here and wait till he says it 3 times to say yes. And in the meantime, we're going to give him a little comfort. That's not how the law works. The law is completely impersonal. And when I speak into the law, my life is pain. The law goes, okay, here's some pain. Because that's what I'm asking for. That's what I'm declaring. And sure enough, it reveals itself just like that in my life. And over the past 2 months, I have been diligently listening for all the ways that belief show up. It's incredibly pervasive. And then a process happens called chemicalization. Okay? It's very similar to cognitive dissonance, only it's like cognitive dissonance on steroids. See, cognitive dissonance is a discomfort from the neck up. This thing called chemicalization, when I really allow a new belief to challenge an old belief, it becomes really painful because all of the tentacles of that old belief start unwinding from everything that they're wrapped around. And that unwinding changes the chemical makeup of my being. And it's uncomfortable. And what I invite you to do is lean into that discomfort. Lean into it. If you're building a building, your back might get sore from bending over, doing all the shoveling and hammering, and once in a while you're going to smack your thumb. You don't quit building. Lean into it. Don't stop building your future in the moment. Those beliefs that aren't true will shift if we focus our attention on what is true. But they don't let go magically. They're wrapped around our experience and our lives. Everything unlike it will bubble to the surface. Let it bubble. Let it bubble. It's not still happening any more than you can take that canceled check and go get the same money twice. Okay? Just because you're feeling those old beliefs, the event is not happening again. Remember that. Feel it, let it go, and remind yourself of what is true. And what you're wanting to create in the tomorrow is being built today. Last thing, quit looking down the road. Because, see, if I fix my vision on a point 200 yards in front of me, and then I move, it's still 200 yards in front of me. It stays 200 yards in front of me. I don't ever get to get there. Bring it to today. Bring it to your beliefs. Listen to your heart. Have a conversation, a compassionate conversation with your brain. Thank you for the information. You're not in charge. My heart is. And then see where it takes you. Live in the mystery. Let's take this into prayer. knowing that there is only one infinite, ever-present source. What I know is that it must be here. It must be all that's here. Because if the divine is all there is, well, then that's all there is. And when I know that the properties of it, the principles of it, the character of it is love, power, presence, peace, infinite abundance, infinite intelligence, that it creates out of itself into exquisite, individualized expressions of itself, to experience itself, then I can wrap myself in that truth, knowing that it is manifesting itself as me, and that I am giving it an experience of itself. That is the oneness that we are. And as I experience all of life experiences. And so I speak my word, claiming and affirming that we all move into a greater experience than we can imagine. That we lean into that heart's desire, whatever it's calling for. That we say yes to that. To becoming that. And allowing that to show up as our lives. Grateful for this opportunity to be used of Spirit, to teach and learn at the same time, to reaffirm the magnificence of how all of this works, and that it works. And so knowing that it does work, that it already has worked, that the infinite says yes as the words are formed and spoken, I stand on that authority. I embrace that. And in that promise, I release my word into that law, which has already made it so, only knows yes, and has already said it. And I invite you to join me as we enter this together by saying, and so it is.